If you are a black straight woman who's attracted to black men, I need you to listen to this right now. I'm not trying to exclude anybody else, but this message really is for you. So everybody else can leave off. If you're not that, then you can just sit around and be curious about what I'm about to talk about. But this is really for black women who are attracted to black men and who are also single right now. A lot of y'all gonna die alone if you don't change your approach to date. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm not trying to step on your toes. And you can argue with me in the comments if you want, but I'm just gonna give you some realities based on what I've seen as a black man who has spent the better part of the last 15, 16 years helping and supporting black women in reaching their goals. I have lived in almost every corner of the earth. And there's a common theme that I've seen amongst black women who stay single and the ones who end up in partnership. And the ones who stay single seem to be the ones who don't tap into these tips that I'm about to give you. For the black women that I see who end up in relationships, marriage, whatever it may be, they have certain things in common, or at the very least, there are certain boxes that may end up getting checked within their process of finding a man. The first thing is that for many of them, they have put aside the idea that their black king needs to be above 6 foot, that she needs to be able to wear a heel when she out with him. He needs to look a certain way in terms of look at a high level of attractiveness. She has accepted that she's the prize, and she does not mind looking like the prize. She's okay with looking like his trophy. Okay. Y'all need to get over this mindset that your man got to be as attractive as you. Okay. For the women who I see who end up happy in relationships, in a lot of cases, their man is not as attractive as them. Okay. And in the cases where their man is equally as attractive, or for that matter, more attractive, those relationships work fine also. I'm not saying that never happens, but I'm saying that the majority, that's just not always the case. Beyond that, what I've seen is that
what else?
They have accepted that he may not earn as much money as them. I know some of y'all gonna turn this video off right now. Y'all don't want to hear this. I'm not saying go be with a man who is struggling and that you guys take care of. But what I am saying is that look at the statistics. You guys are out earning everybody.
Okay. It always surprises me every time when I see someone who you wouldn't expect to serve coffee. Maybe if someone else says it, they might actually listen. Listen, customer service is a real thing. It matters sometimes who's making your coffee. It matters. The barista sometimes matters. Probably not, but sometimes it does. But I'm always so fascinated when I see somebody who you wouldn't expect. Here we have a gay man who's actually telling women the truth about dating. All things we've heard before. Nothing here sounds new to me or you, especially if you've been consistent on this channel, of course. Some of you guys are probably tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. But it's like a train wreck that you can't look away, right? We all see that this is all building up to that 2030 stat of the most single women, marriageable women that we've ever had in history. But if you look at everything he said, 6 foot, cool, that makes sense. Yes, that's a small percentage of men. You're not going to get that. Second, that you're going to find a really attractive man. Why are you looking for these pretty boys in men anyways? See, women have become so masculine. A lot of them, they want to be the man who gets the bad B and the man who was raised up by a bunch of single mothers so that they could carry him around like he's the trophy when you're supposed to be the one in shape, looking good, and be the trophy. And finally, he said, you are out earning everybody. They're not. They're not. On average, black women are not out earning black men. Now, it's getting close. It's getting close. And it turns out young boys are the most affected without a strong father figure. But it makes sense, right? You want somebody who's like you. What am I talking about? A man. Unless if you don't believe that men and women exist and men can be women and women can be men and all this shit just isn't real life. At that point, there's no helping you. But it is always fascinating to see someone who you wouldn't expect, instead of trying to profit off lies, actually say the truth. He took it a step further. He said he's seen this in every corner of the earth. He said he's worked with majority black women for the past 15 years. And he looked dead in the camera and said, most of you, if you don't fix this, who are single, you will die alone. Sound familiar? But when he said it, of course, we're talking about Kevin Samuels. He was the devil. Can't make this shit up.
You all really are, and that's a major accomplishment. But what that does mean is that the number of men who are available to you who can earn at that level or more, or for that matter, take care of you, is very few. And those few men, you got to ask yourself who else is competing for them, and are they attracted to you? Right? Beyond that, the other thing that I've noticed is that Black women who I've noticed who end up in long-term relationships, in some cases, they open their minds to date outside of Black men. I'm not trying to encourage you to leave Black men behind. I'm not trying to encourage that at all. But what I am saying is that Black men have opened their options, and you see many of them getting married and being in relationships. Why haven't you opened your options yet? You deserve partnership, but I think you have to accept that partnership may come in a form that may be different than what you expected, but it still can be equally as beautiful as you expected. If you are a Black straight woman who's attracted to Black men.
It's so interesting to me. Very interesting. Because most times when I see a gay man who's giving dating advice to Black women, it's never this honest and straightforward. A part of me is actually curious to know what the comment section here looks like on this video. All right. So here we are, comment section. Top comment here says, one of the top comments says, I love this post. No settling, but thinking outside the box, being open. Somebody else here added, I approve the message. Here you have none other than Kendra G Media. How ironic is it that the same people who heard this message in a form that didn't sit well with them, straight, truthful, raw, and went against it, came around. I bet you, I don't know about the guy right here, but Kendra G for sure, we all know at one point, was there arguing with Kevin Samuels about how she was going to invite him to her wedding. You know, people who get married, they just get married. Like when you get it, you get it. And you're not thinking too much about it. You understand it's work. You know, you understand you're not special. You understand that you're just willing to do the work and accept reality for what it is. You don't label it as settling, so on and so forth. But a subscriber actually commented on one of my videos and said, you know, Kendra actually told Kevin while arguing with him that I'm going to invite you to my wedding, such and such and such. Still alone to this day. No man in sight. She says, I approve the message. But let's stop the scary tact of dying alone. I don't like that. It implies that if you don't have a romantic partner, you would die alone. My mother wasn't married before she died. She was in the hospital for 3 months and was never alone. She took her last breath with her 3 daughters by her side. I agree. The message of stop having superficial requests, but if a woman is happy without a man, that is okay too. Straight cope. This message hit Kendra G where it hurts. And so instead of sitting there and putting it in context, when he said you die alone, he's talking about will you die with a partner or by yourself in the context of relationships, romantic relationships, marriage or not married, right? The way the government recognizes it in your tax documents. They don't ask you if you have a boyfriend. They don't ask you if you're how many kids you have, if they're talking about a relationship. Are you married or are you not? That's what he meant. And this right here that you guys see in this paragraph, in this response from Kendra G, is exactly why I can see her not getting along with a man in a relationship. You will be saying something and you're talking about the context like he was in a relationship, marriage, dating. Now she wants to turn it into an emotional argument. And instead of sitting down and accepting reality for what it is, she's thinking, well, technically, they like to use the word emotionally mature. An emotionally mature person should be able to sit there and go, I understand the context you're using this in. Yes, you can die with your best friends. For 10 years of my life, I worked with elderly people. I watched people die. I took care of people on hospital beds. Trust me, there's a difference between dying with a spouse. I've taken care of two couples married in the same room. One dies. That's what he's talking about. Can you have family? Can you have your cousins? Yes, you can invest in other relationships. I'm not somebody who believes that if you don't get married, you're a failure. I don't believe that. But she's getting caught up in the wrong thing. Next comment here says, I'm not a black woman, but I love your advice. Somebody else here says, this was a beautiful message said with kindness and love. Man. Somebody else here added, we do not care. There we go. How's it looking? Life is so good. Great. Many of us have already had children, have grandchildren. We have wonderful, lucrative careers because our education. We travel, we volunteer in our community. We have a whole community around us. We're not alone or lonely. There's so much need for us black women in our neighborhoods and communities. We're not going to be stressed out to death by no man, black or otherwise. Black women are doing just fine. Well, if you're doing just fine, then why are you always complaining? Because on one hand, it's you guys don't understand what it's like to be, it's angry statues in the middle of Times Square. This other chick here says, because life's not a fairy tale, stay realistic, girls. Another person here says, dating for looks is crazy. Ladies worry about how you look. Somebody else here added, black women need to open their options and date out. Everyone should go where they are appreciated. Myself, always dated black women, have a beautiful black wife and family, and I'm happy about that. Somebody else here says, this week I went on a date with a white man for the first time, and it was so different. The way he admired my looks, his attractiveness, and was so respectful. I love it. Good for you. Wishing him the best. Somebody else who says, nothing wrong with being alone. Even the not so cute ones play games. Hey, at least this man can rest and sleep at night knowing that he served a good cup of coffee, right? It's good to tell the truth. Of course, curious to know what you guys think. Comment down below. As always, I appreciate you. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.